Hello, everybody! Recently, the first part of the 29th episode of Skibidi Toilet Multiverse was released. And in this video, I'm going to make a complete and detailed analysis of it, as well as find all the Easter eggs and secrets that you guys have definitely missed. And also, I will try to answer some questions that popped up in my head after this episode. Who is this counter-titan, and what abilities can he possess? And why did Skibidi Scientist betray the Alpha after all? And the most important thing, when will Titan Clockman finally appear in the flesh? Get your tea and snacks ready and prepare to watch this video to the end, because it will be very interesting. Let's go! This episode begins in this very city, where the events of the 20th and 21st episodes took place, based on this clock tower. And there was clearly some kind of fighting going on in this city, because everything here is on fire. And after a couple of seconds, a squad of cameramen is attacked by Skibidi toilets, and you just look at them. Their faces look quite strange. They are pretty distorted, and one of the toilets seems to have lost a piece of his head. I have no idea why he's still capable of moving, but it looks like there are some new generation of toilets everywhere now, which don't die completely after getting such a head injury. But in any case, the cameramen destroy these toilets with their powerful energy rifles. By the way, in one frame, you can see buildings with the inscription "Evacuation Center" written on them. Probably these cameramen and those poor devils who are already lying on the ground were trying to get to these buildings in order to get out of this hell. But in any case, let's not stop there. When the Skibidi toilets have been destroyed, Skibidi Scientist himself appears in front of us, sitting in his new huge toy. And he has undergone some changes since the last time we saw him. His huge robot has lasers now, and they are very powerful based on their size, and we will also see them in action later. In addition to it, he's got a TV under the speakers, as well as he found himself these new fashionable glasses. Despite the fact that the cameramen promptly hid in a nearby building, the scientist was able to find them with the help of a treacherous mirror that turned out to be right in front of them. But fortunately, he did not manage to destroy the cameramen, who turned out to be in the wrong place and at the wrong time. And the Titan cameraman arrives to help them. And then the camera switches from the agent to the drone, using which the little brothers will now follow the course of the battle. Skibidi Scientist makes a sassy cat emoji look, clearly feeling his superiority, and he is the first to attack, shooting poisonous missiles at the Titan. The cameraman throws one of them back at the scientist with his gravity cannon, which is an obvious reference to the Half-Life series of games. After that, Skibidi Scientist decides to respond with a volley of his new lasers, which turned out to be powerful enough to move even the Titan. But Cameraman stops this laser onslaught with a throw of bunch of rubbish right into this Skibidi's face, after which he rewards him with two smacky slaps right on his bald head. Finally, the bald grandfather got tired of only getting slapped, and he decided to turn on his magnets, with the help of which he begins to control the hammer of Titan Cameraman, throwing it in different directions and pulling it back. And this reminded me of Thor and his Mjolnir, which he could also control with the power of thought or something like that. However, this outrage was stopped in time by Titan TV Man, and after saying the words "over my dead body," he prepared to finally end the bald one. And in this frame, you can clearly see the new arm of Titan Cameraman, which was made to replace the one that he lost in the 25th episode. Now it is not an ordinary hand, but a powerful gravitational weapon that can cause some pretty huge problems to his opponents. But suddenly, the Alpha teleports in the middle of this performance with the help of the device in her right hand and begins to reproach the scientist for being way too bold, and for apparently beginning to act in his own interest without following the Alpha's orders, which probably confused her a lot. And when he once again began to say something to her, she shamelessly stops him and continues her monologue that Titan Drillman has become quite useless because he restrains himself, probably feeling guilty for destroying the Clockman's base in the 27th episode. But she's fine with him not fighting against her. And finally, the pretty crazy event that we have been already waiting for just for eternity or something actually starts happening right in front of our eyes. The Alpha says she doesn't need Titan Drillman anymore because she's done with Counter Titan, and now she's going to introduce her master's favorite toy to the world. And after that, with the epic music accompanying the following actions, we see the appearance of something that had never been seen in this series before, and you guys must agree with me that the appearance of this guy was super epic. And apparently his size can be compared with the size of Titan Drillman himself or so. Now let's focus on Counter Titan and talk about what he is seemingly capable of and what he threatens the entire Alliance with, and not only that. His appearance reminds me a lot of the Protoss from the game called StarCraft 2. You can also see a core on his chest that looks suspiciously like the personality core from the game Portal 2. And he has some kind of energy cores placed all over his body, which I assume can generate a protective layer and also quite possibly can act as a weapon. Or these things may create a portal through which he appeared right here. Also, almost his entire body seems to be made of metal, and I assume that he is extremely durable, perhaps even much more robust than Titan Drillman himself. And since even the Alpha herself calls him Counter Titan, then I suppose that he should be especially good against other Alliance's Titans, and most likely one of his abilities could be to suppress other Titans' abilities, like Titan TV Man's teleportation. I'm not sure about Titan Clockman though, as he might be the only one who can stand up to him because, as we remember from Episode 6, the magnets don't affect this Titan much, and he was able to stop time even for the big magnetic boy. Even while he was climbing out of the portal, you could still see his tentacle, at the end of which there is a cannon that can be noticed, which is also a very, very powerful weapon, I'm pretty sure of it. If Titan Speakerman was nearly killed by the weapons of not that particularly strong Skibidi, then this cannon can simply remove him out of this world. So, let's continue now. After the epic appearance of this Titan, the Alpha got unexpectedly interrupted by Skibidi Scientist, who destroyed the sphere in the Alpha's hand with a well-aimed shot. He slowly lowered his cool glasses and looked at her with contempt from under his brows, after which he teleported out of this place under the bewildered gazes of Titan TV Man and Titan Cameraman. And oh my god, this is a clear betrayal of the Skibidi toilets, headed by Skibidi Scientist himself, and I talked about this in some of my previous videos. So it really didn't come as a surprise to me as it did to some of the viewers of this awesome series. And the most attentive members of the audience have known this since the 26th episode, when on the folder titled G-Man Apocalypse, the following sentence could be noticed: Scientist to end Commander. And right after Skibidi Scientist, the Skibidi toilets are also moving out of the scene, who also most likely remained faithful to their scientist leader. However, it's worth remembering that some of the Skibidi mutants most likely remained on the Alpha's side though, including the guy with the cool glasses who was watching the scientist. However, apparently the Alpha was not particularly heartbroken by the betrayal of Skibidi Scientist, and expressed that she was going to destroy all the species anyway, and that apparently means that she would get rid of the Skibidi toilets after they would help her deal with the Alliance. And you know, it gave me some thoughts to analyze. It seems that this universe is under quite a serious threat in the form of the complete destruction of all the species inhabiting it, and it is most likely that we will see something incredible in the future episodes. Namely, that the Alliance and the Skibidi toilets will be able to forget their old grudges and unite one with another in order to confront this evil purple woman. This reminds me a lot of the plot of the game called Warcraft, where humans and orcs were constantly at war with each other. But as soon as some common threat appeared on the horizon, they had to unite in order to give their new enemy a pretty good beating, and after defeating this threat, they started to fight again. And I guess that we will probably see something like this in the Skibidi universe from Dom Studio as the plot will continue evolving. I would also like to mention that in the next episode, we will most likely see the long-awaited Titan Clockman, because it seemed to me that a hint of his appearance that will possibly happen in the second part of this episode was given to us at the very beginning. Along with the first couple of frames, you can hear a sound resembling a chiming clock. And this is the sound which was usually being produced by Titan Clockman, for example, in the secret episode. Do you guys think that he will appear in the next part of this episode? At least we can say that we are waiting for a grand battle between Counter Titan and the Titans of the Alliance. Although considering that the Alpha was betrayed by toilets and how she still did not even flinch or show much displeasure or dissatisfaction about this, that would mean that she is extremely confident in the powers of her big new toy, and I will be very curious to see what else she is capable of, besides what I assumed earlier. And that was all for today. Be sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you will not miss my analysis of the second part of this episode. And that was me, ISO Chad. See ya!